Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. Let me see here. We got a, you guys, because at the end of the day, I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, as well as my twice-a-week long-form podcast, you guys, because I want to put the right information out there that you can apply, utilize, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. It's one of the many, many reasons why I proudly fly this American flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you live yours as well. Oh, sorry about that. I might sound a little bit flustered, and I was a couple minutes late there. I'm, you know, like all of you guys know, and I talk about this frequently, I am actively building up my my company right now, right? So I was on the phone and making some sales calls this morning, and fortunately I had one go fortunately had one go a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but you know what, here we are, you guys. And but before we go any further and we'll get into everything, as always, you guys, I gotta give a shout out to my friends over at VHub, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or a shipper, we all need access to trailers at some point in time. And the best part about it, you get paid to move these trailers, you guys. That's right. That's on top of the revenue that you can get by loading these things out. So what they're working on right now, you guys, is they have San Diego, California, going to multiple locations throughout the United States, you guys. They got some roll-up doors, 53-foot roll-up doors needing to get out to New Hampshire and Wisconsin. And they also have standard 53-foot swing doors going out to Florida, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Texas and North Carolina. And they range between $1,100 and $2,200 per trailer, you guys. And that's on top of the revenue that you can get by loading these trailers out. And then finally, they have Paragould, Arkansas, needing to get over to Mississauga, Ontario, and they move for $736 US. And again, you guys, these don't just have to pick up in either San Diego or Paragould. You can reposition them, drop them into your customers' facility, and they just got to end up at the destination, you guys. So again, hit them up, vhubapp.com. My man Zach Lonergan, he just chimed in here, and Stacy Steen. You guys, they'll be in the audience. Just do me a favor, let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. All right, it's good to be back. Like I said, sorry I was a couple minutes late here this morning. I'll say it again, you guys. I'm actively building my business up in front of you. And I'm talking about the realities of this and where I am in the process and throughout my career. And, you know, I was out there heavily prospecting this morning and fortunately got a little bit of a hit and had to accommodate that. And I did. And yeah, so I was a couple minutes late, you guys. But again, this is just the reality of building up businesses, you guys. It's not always perfect. But you know what? You got to continue to put your best effort out there to make shit happen no matter what. Let me see. Comments are blowing up. Teresa Dunlap, Adolfo Rodriguez. Buenos dias, señor. ¿Cómo estás? Stephen Thompson, good morning. Joseph, let's go. He says, Flo, good morning. Good morning. Is it Eby? Good morning, Eby. Thanks for tuning in. Thomas, what is up? Freight moving. Anthony Tuttle, Mario Herrera, let's go. Sonny Sharma, good fucking Thursday morning. My man in the house. Cole, what is up? Let's get it, brother. Tracy St. Clair watching it over on YouTube. As always, I appreciate you, Tracy. LA in the house checking in. I appreciate that, Thomas. Dylan Turner, let's go. He's watching over on YouTube, my man. Yeah, man, making it happen, customers first. And Byron, like I said, man, dude, I was out there. I had a prospect respond, and we were chatting a little bit there. And yeah, man, so we're making stuff happen over here at Freight Coach Logistics. Nathan Granada, what's up, brother? Let's go. Good morning to you, Laverne. Thanks for tuning in. Jackknife TV in the house. Let's go. Good morning. Whew. All right, you guys. Shit, man, things are blowing up. Let's get it today, you guys. All right. So it's going to be a solo show today, you guys. And, we got a couple of articles we're going to break down. But, again, like what I was talking about to kind of lead into the show, momentum's a real thing, you guys. And it's been and it's like looking for the positive signs in the sales process, no matter what, right? Because like the rejection's a real thing, the non-responses and everything else. And, it's a very real thing, but like when you're in the building phases of a lot of your stuff, and for me personally, it is, going through this the last couple of years, when you get nothing, 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 and then there's like, boom, there's just like a little speck um, of like progress. And it's like, man, you gotta capitalize on that. And then you really focus on like, all right, whatever I'm saying, whatever I'm doing right now is just moving the needle, right? And when you're building up something from nothing, and again, you guys, I just speak from my experience of building up my stuff here over the last couple of years. I am nowhere near an expert. I'm just figuring out a lot of what not to do, and that's kind of something I've relied on in my career. And I think there's a lot of power in just like knowing what not to do. And, so it's like when you get those couple of responses, right? And you're saying enough to where people are, paying attention to what you're saying. And, they give, they start engaging with you in conversation. Those are the things that like keep you going, right? Because it's like sales is brutal. Building a business is brutal. There's a lot of no matter what any of these social media all-stars want to sit out there and say, 99% of the time you're getting told no. 99% of the time it's a non-response. But like when you get those little things, man, that's like that validation that just helps you push forward through the building phases of these things. So like no matter where you are in your business right now, you guys, you have to go and just don't fucking quit, right? Like I think that's the biggest thing. And like Ed Milet talks about this on his podcast. I'm rereading his book, The Power of One More. Currently, that's what I'm reading. And he talks about this, and it's very true. You like on a podcast a couple weeks ago, he was talking about how many almost successful people would there be or is there out there because like they quit, right? Like they didn't make that next phone call. They didn't send out that email. And for me, it is like it's so true because it's like knowing when things are like compiling of like on the opposite side where it's like nobody's responding, nobody's engaging, and then all of a sudden you get a little bit, it's just like you just can't fucking stop. And the same thing goes with, even when I'm like building up the podcast here and everything else, you guys. I mean, shit, for the first year, there was nothing, right? There was nothing at all, minimal engagement. And then, I pulled my metrics recently because I had a potential advertiser ask about that. And it was for me, what was great is I saw the progress and they talk about it is because like when you start, there's nothing. And that's what it was. If I broke down the last 36 months of creating content, the first 18 months, there was minimal engagement, minimal anything. But I would say the last 18 months have been like 95% of my growth. So think about that. Wherever you are in your book of building your book of business, building your brokerage, building anything that you want to talk about, it's a lot of it is time, you guys. And that's where I am in building up my building up my brokerage right now as well. It's just time. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of investment in putting that stuff out there. But again, if I'm breaking down the last 3 years of creating content, you guys, the first 18 months, there was fucking nothing. 95% of all of the engagement that happens has happened in the last 18 months. So don't quit. Don't quit building that stuff up, you guys. So, all right, let's see. Yeah, man, let's get it. Luca said, if I were to start again, I'd make the same mistakes, but sooner. Luca, that's very true, bro. It is very true. Papa Freight in the house, no quitting up here. Mike, what is up? Man, I'm so excited to go up to Canada next week and see you, Mike. You guys, I'm going on. I'm going to be doing my live show on site at SPI Logistics, and that's where I have my brokerage through. You guys, I'm a freight agent with SPI, and I'm telling you, if you guys want to take control of your financial future, get after it. Get up, get in touch with Mike. If you guys can't find anybody at SPI, I'll put you in contact with him, you guys. It's the real deal. Mark Jones, good morning, sir. Anthony Tuttle says 100%. And Zach said, I heard someone say, if you knew how many no's you needed to run through before you got to yes, how fast? It's very true, man. Very true. All right, you guys, let's break down a couple of articles here. We are going to start out talking about the spot market today. And this is from overdriveonline.com, you guys. And this is the same old spot market or totally different world. Before we break down this article, though, if you guys want some help with your spot market opportunities, my friends over here at Green Screens up in the upper right-hand corner, use them. My freight has increased exponentially, my freight one, by utilizing their platform, you guys. Greenscreens.ai/the freight coach if you want to check them out. And again, same thing, you guys, with anybody. If you want to be in contact with anybody, just give me a heads up. I'll definitely put you in direct contact with them. All right. Longtime independent owner operators Daniel and Phyllis Snow have worked the spot market consistently for the last decade or so. That is up until the last 2 months. Frustration with market and business difficulties led them to lease on with Bennett family of companies, where they are also helping recruit drivers while on the road and attending truck shows, The Goose in their 1996 Freightliner Classic XL. Daniel said the spot market was all the couple had for the last 10 years, but his point of view is different than what it is, than what it used to be. The spot market is so weak right now that if you don't get in with a good company to at least run their load boards or get their fuel discounts, it's difficult to survive as an independent, he said. With brokers, he said the problem is they're your friends when they need you, but there's no loyalty when there are numerous trucks for every load. That is a great point. And I talk about this a lot. And I 100% agree with Daniel on this statement here, because you know what? Everybody likes to fucking preach relationships on social media. I saw it all the time the last couple of years when it was a driver's market. And ironically, everyone's fucking crickets about it right now. And Daniel brings up a really good point, a very good point. And, again, I can sit here and, I see both sides of the argument, right? Because I've been in this industry for a very long time. But I think for me personally is you have to actually apply it for a long time. Go through a couple of market cycles by not shifting your carrier network up. And I get it, you guys. I'm in the process of doing an RFP and multiple RFPs. You guys, I understand how this shit works. Again, I've been in this industry for a very long time. But if you apply this stuff throughout most market cycles, what you'll understand is your customers don't drastically change your rates as much. And a lot of it for me, I think the secret sauce lies in keeping your customers rate the same and in keeping your carriers rate as about as same as possible throughout. We'll get into this tomorrow because I actually got a question in my DMs about this, and I'll talk about it tomorrow on the Q&A show more in depth. Owner-operator Chad Boblet looks at brokers similarly in times like this when it's not really in favor of the carrier to make great money and searching for a decent load becomes harder. That's when I had push hard to create relationships to get the same loads over and over. A strategy detailed in the previous part of this feature. If it's the other way around in the market, it's booming. Anywhere you go, everybody's giving you $3 a mile. I'm less inclined to create relationships because everybody's going to give you good money. As echoed by plenty in brokerage world and other owner operators, Boblet noted it's just not personal when it's talking to brokers. I don't want to be friends with you, he said. I want to run a business and make a whole lot of money. Only when I want to be friends with you is when I really need you. I need you now because now the market's gone down and it's hard to find freight. Now I'll play that game. Again, take that into consideration, you guys, because again, that's an opposite approach by his words here is he doesn't want to be friends. It's a business. So there's going to be people out there that, again, a lot to be said. He said it's a two-way street and most brokers operate the same way. I agree with him there. And someone, if you're working with a broker to get a load and someone calls and says they'll do it for $50 cheaper, load's canceled. The broker has zero care for you. That's $50 more going into their pocket. That's why you didn't get the load. Very accurate statement. Yet Phyllis and Daniel Snow feel like something may have changed fundamentally for the worse among brokerages. Phyllis said creating advantages with Relationships during the down cycle has been much more difficult than in the past due to turnover at brokerages. They're going through agents like crazy. She said, when some good relationships with some agents that would call us on loads, but they're losing their jobs too, and you can't rely on that anymore. Daniel added that with so much of the brokerage industry going automated, it's making relationships less valuable. There's no human relationships. He said, keep computer contact is all you have. If we don't pay attention to this, right? Pay attention to what they're talking about what's important. Like, again, I'm all about automation, right? Like I'm all about streamlining a lot of my operations, except for what they're talking about right here, right? And the same thing is applicable to shippers, you guys. Nobody wants to talk to a fucking bot, all right? No matter what. These drivers, these hardworking men and women who are out there on the road, just like these hardworking individuals who are out there loading trucks and, you know, like they want to deal with people. Okay. Like, and I understand that there is going to be a lot of individuals that, you know what, they might be more automated, right? Like I have some good friends of mine who are transportation managers at large companies that are like, dude, I just email, but then it's because I don't have enough time, but they still preach relationships. I think that there's that fine line of, you know, for me, I think you can automate some stuff until stuff goes wrong. Then they need a motherfucker to pick up the phone. Then they need somebody to take charge and do that, because a bot can't fix a lot of the issues that you are faced in this industry. Yeah, it's interesting. And then also, negotiations are a two-way street. When it comes to the push for better rates, every situation commands its own tactics. Surprise trucking owner-operator Byron Stoll said, "There's no one size fits all. The biggest thing you can do for yourself is to know the market and the lanes that you're trying to run." Going into a conversation with any broker with data that what the lane pays on average. Owner operator, it goes Chad Boblet. He uses DAT to monitor the load boards as much on any particular lane, you know, and he knows that when he calls a broker, DAT is going to tell you what the 15-day rate average is in most cases, and if it's a popular lane, it'll tell you down to the three-day average. Excuse me. Go to the broker armed with data. Very true. You should be doing that with a lot of data. Let me see here. History with brokers is also a big factor. And sometimes it's worth taking a hit for a few loads. You do the broker before it pays off down the road. I think that, you know, for me in creating these relationships in the industry, because again, realistically, our first point of contact every single time we get loads is with carriers that have done it for us in the past. I've applied that for probably the last 7 years. I didn't do it all the time. You guys, I was a prototypical shitbag broker when I first started, pulling carriers off for $50, shit like that early on in my career. I'll never hide behind how I used to operate. But again, you learn. And sometimes there's a lot of value in getting kicked in the teeth. You guys, there really is. And a lot of the scenarios that you want to, you know, a lot of the success that you want in here, it is a relationship, right? Like I look at a lot of things when it comes down to relationships and partnerships. It's not I always win. That's not a thing at all. It has to, you know, there has to be some give and take in the moment. And I know that more times than not, actually probably 95% of the time when it comes down to working with my core carriers, they bail me out more than I bail them out. Right? They are some of the hardest working salt of the earth individuals that are out there that just want to be paid fairly for a job, just like every fucking one of you who are watching this right now or who will listen to this. You guys just want to get compensated and treated right. So I don't understand the disconnect, right? And I understand it's a lot of perfect world scenarios where I'm sitting right now. Again, I understand I've been in the trenches for a very long time, but I also think that if you minimize a lot of the outside noise and you really focus on what can I do inside of my business, that's all that you really need to focus on, because some other company's way of operating does not affect me at all. It doesn't affect my relationships, anything. And you need to put that into place, right? Like stop paying attention to social media. I know how ironic that sounds coming from me, but there's a lot of bad advice out there. There's a lot of bad advice. And I think that somebody else's results, the way that somebody else operates is not has zero effect on how I operate and how I act as a broker. This is a really good article. If you're out there and you want some quality, I think this is a very good article. OverdriveOnline.com, same old spot market or totally different world. And again, I put all the information to these, or all the links, excuse me, to these articles up on the YouTube channel, and it's also on the Coffee with the Freight Coach audio only replay, which will be available on iTunes and Spotify almost immediately after the show. I can't keep up with the comments today, you guys. Sorry. Jackknife TV says owner operators are pushing that automation. Also, they don't want to talk to anybody. They just want to do point and click, and they're going to make money like running Ubers. Hey, man, to each their own. I think that there's a lot of benefits to that, and I'm just not going to choose to do that in my business. AI is probably going to make I would agree with that, Zach. It's all Byron says he's all about change. You don't say the Freight Coach has a heart. Thanks, brother. The people factor will always be a part of the process, Teresa says. And then Jackknife TV says they can only negotiate with you as much as they were able to negotiate with their customer. Unfortunately, shit rolls downhill. Nathan Granado says only competition is ourselves. Let me see here. All right, next article. Second article is from FreightWaves. Transportation prices fall notably again in July. The transportation, let me see here, in July, but it fell at a slower rate than in the prior 2 months, according to data compiled in the Logistics Managers Index. Prices registered a 35.6 reading during the month, well below a neutral level of 50, but the fall off wasn't as sharp as the record rate of decline in May. The Tuesday report showed that growth rates for transportation capacity and capacity utilization slowed by mid-single digits from June. The sub-index of prices jumped 11.5 points from the first half to the second half of July. This early late month shift is what we saw in March of 2022 when the freight recession began, the report said. A lot would need to happen for transportation markets to recover, but this type of significant move would be the first step on that path, they said. However, downstream firms like retailers see transportation capacity continuing to surge. The group returned a 1-year forward prediction of 73.5 for capacity, while upstream respondents like wholesalers had a neutral take on next summer. Inventory levels declined at the fastest pace in the 6.5-year history of the index. Downstream firms reported modest inventory growth versus wholesalers, which saw a decline in stock values. Okay, so I think this is natural at this state when inventory levels are high, sales are, earnings are down. Obviously, they're not going to restock or need to restock their inventory or keep it at a high or an elevated level. I'd like to see comparison. I know some of my friends who watch the show are on the retail side of things. I would like to know what an average inventory level is for them and how that is applicable to current times. The report said some companies may not be restocking yet, which figures as much, as they ordered too much in the past and found themselves in an overstock position. The report also said that some companies are going back to just-in-time deliveries or inventory strategies, which could be particularly true for firms who are still locked into higher storage costs. Declines in inventory showed up in warehousing metrics, which have also cooled. Warehousing capacity grew. And then warehousing utilization expanded, but at a slower pace. Let me see here. The lowest reading, the lowest reading for warehouse prices in the index's history is 59. The industry is down 41,000 warehouse workers over the past 13 months. The report says while e-commerce stabilized at around 15% of retail, it's more likely than that the warehousing market is reaching the equilibrium. Okay. I look at it. I think when it comes down to warehouse workers reducing, you almost wonder how much of that was was due to like the seasonal stuff, right? Like over the last couple of years. I don't mean the seasonal freight. I mean like the last couple of years and the spike in demand and everything and needing a lot. And then again, like when you look at an overall number like that, I think this data point is subjective. applicable, yes, but I feel like it's subjective because it doesn't tell the whole story on the why. Um, but I also think that when you see inventory levels going down, naturally that means what? They're going to have to buy and replenish them. Again, I would love to talk to one of my friends who works on that side of the fence and talk to them about average inventory levels. I don't want to go out there and spout off and say like, "Oh, this means that everything's going to recover and everything else, and it's going to happen really quick." I can't say that, but just based on my public school education and experience in the industry, generally speaking, when inventory levels go down, eventually they need to be replaced. Again, take that for what it's worth. I went to a state school for college and everything as well. Again, public school education. But I also think that, if we're looking in this, to bring up one of the articles I broke down earlier this week, it was probably yesterday, actually, because I had guests on Monday and Tuesday, is the freight cycles and paying attention to that 18 to 24 months, right? And it's applicable even through the spike of the pandemic and everything. It lasted about 18 to 24 months, you guys. So that's one thing to take into consideration. And I think another thing to take into consideration is looking at the fact that you could say the market, some say as early as March of last year of 2022 is when they say the signal of the downturn happened. Some put it around June. So again, like I say, more times than not, if you're looking at it from the 18-month perspective, you're closer to it recovering than not. So again, I think that what a lot of people learned, a significant amount through the pandemic, and I think that this changes inventory for the future, right? I truly do. I think that a lot of that, and having the other countries shutting down and affecting our inventory levels, I could see that there, it's going to be interesting to see if that's going to keep a replenished inventory level up and maybe have elevated inventory levels for the peak season. I think that, same thing, pay attention to a lot of the geopolitical climate that's going on out there. You never know. But again, as I say often, I think we are closer to a recovery than not. I've already put my guess out there numerous times here. I don't think it's going to be a cataclysmic rise to it, but I think that later this year, you're going to start to see life back in the spot market and everything else. But I think that if you're going into a long-term contract with a shipper, I think you'll be fine for this foreseeable future. I don't, outside of some major world shakeups, I don't see a drastic increase in prices coming up anytime soon. So, but yeah, you guys, that article was from TT News, or excuse me, FreightWaves. Transportation prices fall notably again in July. Yeah, I think that if you get out here, and I truly feel I'm an optimistic realist. I know that probably doesn't make any sense to a lot of people, but it's true. I think that the reality is that, things are tough right now, but it's also closer to it recovering than not, no matter what. So, like I say, take the lessons you learn in these down markets and how you operate, and then keep operating no matter what, whether it's an up market or a down market. And I feel like you're gonna have a fighting chance to make shit happen. But that is gonna be it for today, you guys. We're gonna be back at it tomorrow. Tomorrow is Q&A day. Okay, so if you have any sales or operations related questions, DM them to me. You can remain anonymous out there. I know some individuals don't want to put their name out there, and that's fine. DM me. I'll keep it anonymous. Or if you want to drop them in the chat, I will answer them live on the show tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, as always. If you guys got value, subscribe and share the show, you guys. Rank the show out there on iTunes and Spotify. If you thought I got gave 5-star information, hit that 5-star out there, you guys, because that's how we reach more people. That's how we are the top shows, because of each and every one of you. Because if you see value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.